the lemon, and so maybe just the three of us this morning. So anyway, for those that are joining me on Rumble, Rumble is up, and I want to say to my chatters, if you're Rumble, listening through Rumble or YouTube, welcome, good morning. Again, this is On a Wing and Prayer, seen on Patriots Soapbox, Thursday mornings, 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Eastern, and 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern, so please adjust for your time zone. So, where can we go today? There's so much going on. Let's see. I'm going to start with something. This happened to me today, and I'm going to show a couple of really quick videos. Let me get that. I tried so hard to. Um, I tried so hard with these videos to. I was going to try to. Um, I was going to try to. What was I going to try to do? I was trying to. Oh, wait a minute. Do it this way. I was trying to put them together so you could see them, and unfortunately, let's see. Is it going to share? Hold on. It may not share. Hold on. Let me see. I might have to. Oh, good. It is going to share. So this happened. I don't know if you see that. Is that big enough that you can see? Let me make this bigger. Um, let's see. Okay. Let me make that. I went to my grandson's season starting, and I was going to try to combine the two, but I wasn't able to do that. Man, really? I don't know how to do that. All right, let me stop my share and YouTube. Let me try to do this back. I see. Okay, can you guys see that? Hopefully. Let me see. Okay, so I want to draw your attention. So here are police cars, and I don't know if you can see them very well, but here's a police car here. Here's a police car here, and right in front of them there are two trucks. So this was just weird. It was just really odd. I don't know if this was training, and I'm going to give you a little bit of. Um, this is a very short little clip that I did that I took. So there's no sound. better, but we'll see. This one's a little bit clearer, so let me. Is it roboting? It could be the clips. Rubber banding. Yeah, that is one thing about once I do these clips and everything. Let me see. But I didn't get closer because I didn't want to be conspicuous. I wanted to see if I was trying to find out what was going on, but I didn't want to draw attention to myself. So, but maybe you could see what I'm talking about a little bit better this way. Let's see. Thing. That's the one thing about Rumble, or not Rumble, but D Live. If your box isn't right, it gets. Let me see. I'm trying to see. May have to. Okay, so you should be able to see that now. The police cars would travel or follow the trucks around the facility, like the parking lot. One car, and then the car that had the police officers, three or four people would get out and approach the truck. So I have no idea what was going on. I just found it weird. So good morning, everybody. Good morning, Peaches. If you want to join me, I am in Rumble right now. I am also have my YouTube up. Uh, that way, I can see your chat a little bit better if you like to do that. So I'll put that out there again. So if you are just now joining, thank you for joining me this morning. Hi, omnidirectional. And let's so where can we go from here? Um, let me Okay, let me get that out of the way. So, like I said, I just thought it was weird. It was really strange. But what really also got me, I saw this police helicopter. The police helicopter. There was a yellow and blue helicopter flying over the uh, the practice area, and around here, one of the uh, some of the fire stations. That's what they use. Their fire stations are um, yellow and blue. So we talked about Chris and I talked about. Let's see if I can pull that up. If I can get that bigger. Maybe I can't. Oh, I'm not going to get that big. I'm not going to get that as big as I thought I was. Ah, let me see. So Greg Abbott, he did this. Hmm, he did this letter about the runaway Democrats. Let's see, open original. Ah, okay, here we go. Woo. All right, so since we're all talking, we're talking. Chris and I were talking about what's going on in Texas. Oops. Come on. There we go. So this is the letter from Greg Abbott talking about what's happening in Texas, and this came out on the third, which is what, Sunday. This was written on Sunday. So real Texans do not run from a fight. Uh, make sure. But that's exactly what most of the Texas House Democrats just did. Rather than doing their job and voting on urgent legislation affecting the lives of all Texans, they have fled Texas to deprive the House of the quorum necessary to meet and conduct business. And if you listen to any of Greg Abbott's interviews, one of the things he one of the reasons why he called a special session was to help the people that were caught in the flood, flood relief. You know, so it's not just the redistricting that these Democrats are, that may be the sword they're going to fall on, but it's not just about that. So these absences are not merely unintended and unavoidable interruptions in public service like a sudden illness or family emergency. Instead, these absences are premeditated for an illegitimate purpose, what one representative called breaking quorum. Another previously signaled that Democrats would have to go by an extreme measure of a quorum break to stop these bills from happening. So, again, it's not just about the redistricting, it is about there's other bills on the floor or that need to happen in in the Texas state uh, congressional meeting. In other words, Democrats hatched a deliberate plan not to show up for work for the specific purpose. Oh, come on. Did y'all lose it? Did I lose it? Let me stop that share real quick. So that amounts to an abandonment or forfeiture of an elected office. When the governor calls a special session, so the Texas Constitution, people keep saying, well, no, this isn't legal. Well, each state has their own constitution, and each state's constitution can say whatever. Let's see. I'm going to try to do something. I'm going to try to do it this way because this is just too distracting. Mm, Hopefully, this will work. Let's see. So, our Constitution provides that the legislature shall meet. Texas Constitution, Article 3, subsection 5, emphasis added. It's not optional, it's a duty. The absconded Democrat House members were elected to meet and vote on legislation, not to prevent votes that may not go their way. Every session, legislatures on both sides of the aisle find themselves on the losing side of a legislative vote. And every session, most of the legislatures find a way to disagree agreeably and behave like adults rather than going AWOL. This truancy ends now. The derelict House Democratic House members must return to Texas and be in attendance when the House convenes at 3 p.m. Would be Central Standard Time or Central Daylight Time on Monday, August 4th. For any member who fails to do so, I will invoke Texas Attorney General Opinion Number KP0382 to remove the missing Democrats from membership in the Texas House. In that opinion, the Attorney General considered whether Texas law allows for a determination that a legislature has vacated office if they intentionally break quorum. The Attorney General concluded that whether a specific legislator abandoned his or her office such that a vacancy occurred will be a fact question for a court. He further concluded that through a quo warranto action, a district court may determine that a legislature has forfeited his or her office due to abandonment and can remove the legislature from office, thereby creating a vacancy. See, these idiots, these idiotic Democrats, the Democrats, are you kidding me? Don't you just they're such suckers, they they did this to themselves. If they lose seats because of a special session or a president or or if they I mean, they're creating their own vacancy. If they get outed, if the person, if they're if they get outed with a Republican and takes that place, guess what? They did it on themselves. That empowers me to swiftly fill vacancies under Article 3, Section 13 of the Texas Constitution. Texas constitutions do have their place. In addition to abandoning their offices, these legislatures may also have committed felonies. Many absentee Democrats are soliciting funds to evade the fines they will incur under House rules. Any Democrat who solicits, accepts, or agrees to accept such funds to assist in the violation of legislative duties for purposes of skipping a vote may have violated bribery laws. And they talk about President Trump getting a plane that goes to the president, not President Trump per se, individually, but to the presidential office. But yet these Democrats, they actually hired this. I don't like I said it was a 1,700 per hour. I think it was 1,700, either 1,700 or 17,000 per hour. So, see Texas Penal Code 3602. The same could be true for any person who offers, confers, agrees to confer such funds to fleeing Democrat House members. I will use my full extradition authority to demand the return to Texas of any potential out of state felons. So that was signed on August the 3rd. And this. Uh, so, so in conjunction with this, let's see, how do I get that? So, in conjunction with that, we have, like I was saying, so here is the warrant. Hey, Marsha K. Okay, this is the whole thing. This is just the. This looks like it's just the. Um, it's, this is just the whatchamacallit, just the first page. I didn't have the whole thing. I thought I did, but I guess I didn't. But you can see. So this is in the Supreme Court of Texas regarding Greg Abbott in his official capacity as governor for the state of Texas. A petition for writ a quo warranto. So this is the different attorney generals. So we'll see what these guys do. But we could see that the petition has at least been filled. So maybe Abbott will actually do something this time. I hope, because I mean they bold enough to do this, because the last time they just got a slap on the hand and nothing happened, and people were ticked. I know I was not very happy when he did that. It was like, are you kidding me? No. I'm surprised that people still have confidence in Abbott because of that. So, let's see, what else do we have? Um, let's see. I got some other things. I don't have anything kind of in a logical order, so we'll just have to kind of see what we're see as we do. So I have. Oh yes. This guy. I think this right here. Talk about fraud. Let me see something. I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna see. Well, no, I'll just talk about fraud. Do this. So I picked at this. Let's see. Um, because this thing has ties to one Ilian Omar. Uh, so Minneapolis man pleads guilty, 40, 47th conviction in the Feeding Our Future fraud scheme. This actually came out back in June the 26th, but I ran across this when it came to Ilian Omar. She was actually seen in videos. She promoted this Feeding Our Future, and she promoted this guy. So, a Minneapolis man has pleaded guilty to wire fraud and money laundering for his role in the $250 million fraud scheme that exploited a federally funded child nutrition program during the C-19 panic-demic. I call it a panic-demic because what was being said, if you get sick, you're going to die. If you're around somebody, you're going to get sick and you're going to die. Oh, everybody, and let's make sure your kids are healthy. Let's get them the shot that did more damage than the illness itself. So, let's see. Announced acting U.S. Attorney Joseph H. Thompson. According to court documents from September the 20th through January 22nd, Ahmed Abdul Abdullah Gidai, 37, claimed to be operating a child nutrition site in St. Paul, Minnesota. As part of the scheme, on or about September 4th, 2020, Gidai's co-conspirator registered ASA Limited LLC with the Minnesota Secretary of State. 4 days later, Gidai's co-conspirator applied for ASA Limited to operate a purported food site in the federal children nutrition program under the sponsorship of Feeding Our Future at the Guri Deli, a small market located in a St. Paul strip mall. Within just 3 weeks of creating the ASA Limited site, Gidai and his co-conspirators falsely claimed to be serving meals to 2,000 or 3,000 children each day, 7 days a week. During the 1 year period from September 20, 2020 to September 2021, Gidai and his co-conspirators fraudulently claimed to have served more than 1 million meals at the ASA Limited site. To accomplish the scheme, the defendant and his co-conspirators prepared and submitted inflated meal counts, fabricated invoices, and fake attendance roster, rosters of purported children. To be honest, that's kind of hard because, like, I feed the kids at school, and all I can do is I count the trays that I give them. I can't make them eat the meal, but if they're there, I have to give it to them. Some of them walk away, but I don't count the ones I don't hand out. I only count out the ones I hand out. Like I said, I can't make them eat. So if they don't eat, that food goes to waste. I tell you what, uh, some of these food programs like this, the food goes to waste because the people don't want to eat them. Um, So I have to. I mean, I have to. I have to take an inventory of all that. I take an inventory of my food, and we started having food start disappearing, or either that I was getting old and senile, and I was forgetting things. According to court documents, rather than use fraudulently obtained money to serve meals or feed children, Gidai and his co-conspirators fraudulently misappropriated much of it. Gidai used a shell entity he created, AG Limited LLC, to hide and disguise the source and ownership of his portion of the fraud proceeds. Between December 2020 and November 2021, Gidai deposited more than $2 million in federal child nutrition program funds into AG Limited LLC bank accounts. Gidai used this money to purchase more than $245,000 dollars in motor vehicles and to fund more than 200,000 in credit card spending. GDI also transferred approximately 560,000 in federal child nutrition program funds to Cosmopolitan Business Properties LLC, another shell he co-owned with other co-conspirators. I wonder if that's the program that we were using. Hmm. Toward the purchase of a mansion and adjoining property located at 2722 and 2742 Park South Avenue in Minneapolis, which will be now forfeited to the United States along with a 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee. I think that would follow under the EO, crimes against children, right? Crimes against humanity. According to court documents, Gidai paid $5,000 in kickbacks to Ab- Abdiker Idle, a Feeding Our Future employee, in exchange for sponsoring and facilitating ASA Limited fraudulent participation in the federal child nutrition program. ASA Limited, of which the defendant was a co owner, paid Idle an additional $49,000 in kickbacks. That would keep me going for about a year. Feeding Our Future received nearly $400,000 in administrative fees sponsoring ASA Limited's participation in the program. So in total, Gidai and his co-conspirators. I'd like to know who his co-conspirators are. I would. It wouldn't that be. Wouldn't that be interesting to see their names show up? Let's see. So in total, Gidai and his co-conspirators caused a loss of $7.2 million to federal child nutrition programs based on fraudulent claims submitted through Feeding Our Future. Gidai pleaded guilty today in U.S. District Court before Judge Nancy E. Brazel. Its sentencing hearing will be conducted or scheduled at a later date. This case, the case, blah, 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 blah. The case is the result of an investigation by the FBI, IRS, Criminal Investigations, and the U.S. Postal Inspection Service. Acting U.S. Attorney Joseph H. Thompson and Assistant U.S. Attorneys Matthew S. Ebert, Harry M. Jacobs, and Daniel W. Bobier, Bobier are prosecuting the case. Assistant U.S. Attorney Craig Bond is handling the seizure and the forfeitures of assets. So that, like I said, I got I got hooked on this thing because, or what drew me to this was because someone mentioned that Elon Omar was seen, serving food, and so she was one of those that was promoting this company, this Feeding Our Future. So that is one of, so it, like I said, and it'd be interesting to know who, if she was considered a co-conspirator. Let's see what else we got. Oh, so let's see on that. Okay, so if we look at Wikipedia, wiki. Um, Let me look at Wikipedia. I know some people, I know Wikipedia is not exactly uh, the best source, but I think it's a good starting place. So Actually, so feeding future was the second, um, 2016, and it dissolved in 2022. Interesting. And then it was a 501c3 up until 2020. Feeding Our Future was a nonprofit organization based in Minnesota, founded in 2016. It claimed to distribute many thousands of meals to school children during the pandemic, but stole hundreds of millions of dollars while providing few or no meals at most of its locations. So, although the state agency responsible for monitoring the school meal program repeatedly tried to cut off funds to Feeding Our Future, the organization was not shut down until FBI raids and federal indictments in 2022. As of mid 2025, out of 72 suspects indicted in the fraud, 43 have pled guilty. Another seven individuals were found guilty at trial, including the leader of the scheme, Amy Bach, while many others await trial or awaited trial. So, sorry. So here's a history. The organization was founded in 2016 and repeatedly applied for grants from the state of Minnesota, but was rejected due to allegations of mismanagement and abuses. The organization's tax status as a nonprofit was revoked by the IRS in February 2020. So, so for 2 years they still ran. Is that what they're saying? If that was revoked, but they didn't dissolve to 2022. After the onset of the virus pandemic, a large increase in the amount of federal aid available, Feeding Our Future applied to receive funding to provide meals to school children as schools were closed. Although the Minnesota Department of Education knew of issues of Feeding Our Future, it began giving the organization substantial grants after Feeding Our Future threatened legal action against the state. Hmm. So who's in charge of Minnesota right now? Who's governor? Who and how long has he been governor? Ultimately, after MDE began delaying responses to Feeding Our Future's grant applications, the organization sued the state in November 2020, arguing that it was being discriminated against. Yeah, there you go. They have to throw that discrimination word, right? Around the same time, the MDA raised concerns of fraud with the United States Department of Agriculture, and the FBI began investigating in February 2021. Feeding Our Future's leader, Amy Bach, maintained ties with local politicians, including Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, uh, hmm, that guy. So he was part of the Democratic Farmer Labor Party, and he was actually on the city council in 2014 to 2018 and elected mayor. And then and state senator Omar Fateh. Oh, this guy. How about this guy? So, I mean, he's an American, they say he's an American politician and a member of the Minnesota Senate, a member of the Minnesota Democratic Farmer Labor Party. He represented District 62, or represents, which includes parts of the Southwest, Minneapolis, and Hennepin County. And he's Somalia. He's from Somalia. An aide of Frey's Abdi Salah ultimately pled guilty to wire fraud. Frey stated he was unaware of Salah's activities. Another supporter is Minneapolis council member Jamal Osman. So here's another one. Um, Again, Democratic Farmer Labor Party elected in 2020. so whose wife operated a Feeding Our Future meal site, which received more than $400,000 in funding. Can you say nepotism? Federal prosecutors allege that only 3% of the funding granted. So, since I'm in California, that this organization probably would not have been part. Allege that only around 3% of the funding granted to Feeding Our Future meal sites was spent on food, while the remainder was funneled to the individual conspirators involved in the fraud. At its peak, the organization listed 299 meal sites, which purported to have served 90 million meals in less than 2 years, more than 120,000 meals per day. One site surveilled by the FBI claiming to serve 6,000 meals per day actually averaged around 40 visitors. Meanwhile, in December 2020, MDE denied Feeding Our Future's ongoing grant applications and labeled the organization severely deficient, leading to an attempt by MDE to terminate the partnership fully. Feeding Our Future sued the state in response. Minnesota Judge John Guthman found in the spring of 2021 that there was no legal basis for stopping payments. Who? So the judge, how much you want to bet he was on the take? That there was no legal basis for stopping payments and informed MDE that there could be a real problem if it did not resume processing Feed Our Future grant applications, although he did not formally order MDE to resume giving grants. Several months later, Guthman held MDE in contempt of court for processing grants applications slowly and ordered the state agency to pay a fine of $47,500 to Feeding Our Children. Oh, I wonder where that judge is now. In January 2022, the FBI raided a number of Feeding Our Future meal locations, and the nonprofit was disestablished shortly thereafter. That fall, members of the organization were accused of defrauding the state's USDA funded school nutrition programs of at least 250 million or a quarter of $1 million over the course of the C-19 pandemic, led by the organization's president, Bach. On September 20th of 2022, the U.S. Attorney Andrew M. Luger announced federal charges against 47 former Feeding Our Future employees for their involvement in the nation's largest pandemic related fraud scheme. By October 2024, the number of indicted individuals reached 70. In the spring of 2024, a group of 7 defendants were first to go to trial. Near the end of the trial, an attempt was made to bribe a juror to vote to acquit. So, can you say jury tampering with $120,000 in cash? The juror reported the incident and was dismissed to avoid the appearance of impropriety, along with who had heard or heard, another who heard about the incident from a relative. Oh, yeah. The jury was sequestered for the remainder of the trial. Of the first 7 defendants, 5 were convicted on most charges against them, while 2 were acquitted. Several weeks later, 5 suspects, including 3 of the defendants from the first trial, were indicted on charges related to the bribery. One of the individuals indicted for bribery had been acquitted of fraud during the trial. All five suspects in the bribery case had pleaded guilty to the resulting charges by May 2025. So a federal court handed down the first sentence in the scandal on March the 15th, 2024. Mohammed Ismail, hmm, I wonder if that's misspelled, received a 12-year sentence. Two of the three accounts involved conspiracy. He was ordered to pay more than $47 million in restitution. The second trial in the case began in February 2025 for Amy Brock, the ringleader of the scheme, and the leading co-conspirator Salim Saeed. On March the 19th, 2025, Brock and Saeed were both found guilty on all accounts. Two additional suspects, the 71st and 72nd, were indicted in May and June 2025. One was arrested just before boarding a flight out of the United States at Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport. Huh. By July 2025, out of 72 suspects indicted in the fraud, 43 had pled guilty. That's a lot of conspiracy. That's a lot of fraud. Can you believe that web? I mean, that's like the spider web of all spider webs, right? I mean, of course, we know that Congress is full of that too, but still, 43 had pled guilty and 7 had been found guilty at trial, while many others awaited trial. Although more than a quarter of a million or $250 million is alleged to have been stolen, only around 75 million, oh my, have been recovered as of early 2025, as much of the money was spent on unrecoverable expenses like luxury meals and hotels, or was transferred to overseas investment. Oh, now we got another RICO, overseas, which the United States cannot seize. So, though not all of those charged and convicted in the case were members of Minnesota's Somali American community. What is the nationality of Omar? Hey, Canadian Bacon and Remnant. Hey, Remnant. What is Omar? What's Ilian Omar? What is she? Is she a Somalian? I think. Whether first generation immigrants or native born, Amy's Bach, the leader of Feeding Our Future, and a white woman, I have to put that in there, right? Accused state agencies of discrimination against the Somali community in the months before charges were filed. A Somali American investigator for the Attorney General of Minnesota's office suggested that accusations of racism made against state agencies led to hesitancy in taking action against Feeding Our Future. That's it. I have worked when I worked with the Texas Attorney General's office. That's the thing. A lot of times, people, if you are not of, I hate to say it, and I don't like to use this terminology, but it's what uh, if you are not like, I hate to use the word white, but if you're not Caucasian, if you're from another, if you are from another background, a different background, they're afraid to get rid of anybody. Uh, that's the reason why, even if you're an at will, they have to have documentation in Texas. You can work for the state of Texas says they're at will, but what they do to cover their bases, they have to document what if you mess up, if they've given you warning, if they've given you a chance to make things right, because they're afraid of being sued, and they're afraid of being accused of discrimination. I mean, how many people, that is just, It's just that's people they're afraid of that. I mean, which is discriminatory as it is. You're discriminating of filing charges after an investigation against somebody because of their I don't know heritage. Uh, that's 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 in my opinion that's discriminatory. So the following table lists only those who pled guilty or were convicted by a jury. It does not include those who thus far have only been charged with crimes, as it is up to date as of August the 4th of 2025. So, good grief. Uh, so we got Beckham Murdasa, 40, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, $3 million. Yadif Yusuf Ahmed, 33, $2.1 million. Hannah, I don't even want to, but 7.1. Abdul Abakara Ali Awad, wire fraud, money laundering. Liban Yassin Malata Ali, aiding and abetting. Good grief, 3,000 or 3 million, 1.1 million. That's a lot of money. 3 million. I don't want that much money. I really don't. That's a lot of money. I mean, just give me enough that's I can make my bills. I could pay pay. It'd be nice to pay off a car, not having to worry about a car payment. Just pay. Maybe even pay off a house, and then you know. Yeah, I know my internet is unstable, but pay off a house and just have enough to. I don't want just enough. I do want more, but where I don't have to just scrimp and save for 5 years just to go to a halfway decent vacation. Like I mean, they're all. I mean, these are old adults too, in their 50s, 40s, 63. Theft. Some of these haven't been sentenced yet. They haven't been sentenced because the sentencing isn't until later. We got so it looks like the youngest may be 29. You have a 63-year-old, $5 million. You got some making more than that. So here are this Sharon Ross. Sharon Ross got 3.5 probation. Okay, well let's look at this. So these that have two and a quarter or 4.25 years monetary restitution, $5 million. Excuse me. Got another 3.5 years monetary restitution of 2.4, and you got to know they're not going to have to pay that whole thing back. Maybe a quarter of it. 12 years. This Mohammed, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to commit money laundering. So these were convicted at trial. Sharon Ross pleaded guilty. This guy pled guilty. This guy, here's a 21-year-old. He convicted at trial of 900,000, but he hasn't been sentenced yet. I wonder if he's going to have the same kind of monetary restitution. I wonder if he's going to get to see a jail cell since he's 20. We got 17.5 years, 17 and a half years, 33. 1 point. Now, I wonder what, there's got to be more to this. If he's getting 17 and a half years, I wonder if he'll even see half of that time. I wonder if he'll get probation for 1.3, where this guy is 1 2.2, but he's only getting 12. I wonder if the age was in account. got wire fraud here, but he didn't have to. He didn't get any money. Wire. So, huh? Can, well, I guess it's the American dream, right? Come to the U.S. and steal all the money. So, oh, here's an interesting one: 666,000. So, anyway, I just thought, like I said, I understand that the Ilian armor is in that too. Is somehow so. Yeah, Mog's device too. Thank you for joining for a few minutes. So help me beat those algorithms on Rumble, Help those maybe I can get some more participation in Rumble. But so thank you for hopping on to for a few minutes, Mog device too. I hope you're still there. So let's see. So I just thought that was I saw that someone had mentioned Ilian armor, and I wonder if they're somehow going to tie that. So here's another. I don't know if people have been talking about this. Uh, this is an interesting one. Let's see. I may have to. Come on. Let's see what my task manager says. Okay, close this odd. All right. So this came. Here's an. I don't want that video. Okay. So, and I'm sorry. I wonder if that's one of the reasons why. What the? What the what? Okay. I don't want to check that out. Okay, here we go. Uh, at least I got some time. There's Rumble. Okay, thanks. All right, let's see. All right. Okie dokie. Let's see if I can do this again. All right. Okay. So I don't know if y'all saw this. This is a whole school board resigned after an audit. So that's a good thing. So the uh, no, Monday, just weeks. Gucci. In a statement to ABC, and have instituted sweeping reforms is simply and would force the school to close. Lawmakers Okay, so all right, I think I've gotten my yes, it looks like I got my voice back on Rumble. So I hope. Yep. I see the green box is working, so that's a good indicator. I'm gonna see. I've got a couple of videos I want to show, but I don't think I'm going to be able to show it through Rumble. I'm going to have to take it down, probably. So I do want to talk about this real quick, too. So again, this came out on the 31st, which would have been, let's see, we're on the 7th. That was last week. Let's see. Hopefully, this will. Thank you, Mog. I, so I don't know if y'all saw this. If anybody's covered this, I think it's like, what is happening? We know that things are just. So, four shootings in Flint early Sunday leave two dead and several left two people dead and at least nine others in serious injuries over slightly more than an hour. So, the Flint Police Department says the shootings were reported on Stewart Avenue, two different
as the board has to collect military and oversee these ballots up to 6 days after the election. And people who voted by mail have 3 days after the election. As the board
press conference at Brush Park, where officials highlighted the registry's ongoing impact. Conference at Brush Park, where officials highlighted the registry's ongoing impact. The registry was shared
as the board has
officials highlighted the registry's ongoing impact. The registry was shared
out of their truck. Donna Allen says a lack of fresh foods in the community has driven her to take matters into her own hands.
I am trying.
Vegetable
But if you can hear me on Rumble, how many of you think that uh, uh, is that better? Is it getting better? So again, sorry, Rumble, I lost my voice on Rumble. So y'all think the if you're in Rumble, do you think that that article was written by AI? You don't? Well, I can't reboot, and if I reboot in Zoom, I lose Zoom. It's glitchy. Ah, well, I tell you what, I am going to, because I only have 15 minutes, and I like to play a couple of videos, so I'm going to go ahead and shut down Rumble so that I can get some of the bandwidth back, and I can play some videos. But thank you for joining me in Rumble, for those who came in and joined and allowed me, help me get the algorithms going in Rumble so that I can. Uh, and I'm sorry y'all didn't hear that, but basically, I don't know if you were able to read and follow along while I was reading that article about the Flint incidents, the four shootings, but the sentence structure was just so. For for those of you in Rumble, I am going to shut down my live stream in Rumble again. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Don't I will if you were listening with me and Chris earlier, I'm going to try to do a whatchamacallit, journey through the Bible if you want to join and learn some more about who God and Jesus are. So, anyway, if you're on Rumble, thank you for joining me and good night. I'm going to shut the stream down. Stream.